Hey, I'm that EV chick, and today I'm going to take you on a tour of the Polestar 2.
Today, we are going to be taking a look at the Polestar 2. This sporty sedan gives the Tesla Model 3 a run for its money. Polestar is owned by Volvo, but as we take a look around the outside of the car, you're going to notice that there is very minimal branding on the car. When I first saw this car on the streets, I had no idea what it was. I was like, that looks like a Volvo, but is it? And I had to do some research to find out. The only spaces you'll find the name are on the little sticker on the side, as well in the headlights on the front of the car. Staying in the front of the car, you're going to find a front trunk. However, you do have to open with the latch on the inside, which is a little bit annoying. And then you have to walk back to the front, and you're going to find a small yellow lever, which you have to just push over to the side. And then you can open up the front trunk, which is pretty small compared to the Tesla, but you do have a nice separator, which is useful. As we walk around to the back of the car, you're going to find your charge ports, which you're going to open just by lightly pressing, and you'll find your pretty standard CCS charge ports. Moving over to the trunk, you'll find the button underneath the bumper, which I thought was odd, and you'll open up to this fairly spacious trunk, especially for the size. You have a sub-trunk for some extra storage, and then what I thought was really cool about this car was the divider in the trunk. So if you want to keep your groceries separate, this could be a really useful thing that the car has. Over on the side, you will find some extra power outlets, as well as your standard trunk accessories like netting. If you want to close the trunk, you just press this button on top and the motor will close the trunk for you. The Performance Pack is going to give you 20-inch alloy wheels as well as beautiful yellow Brembo brakes, which are going to match the bright yellow seatbelts in the interior, which brings us to the interior of the car.
I am sitting in the Polestar 2, and I wanted to go over the interior because this is what makes this car so special and so wonderful, is that the interior is really, really nice. It's pretty minimal, but it still has a decent amount more than the Tesla. For example, you're still going to control everything through this center console. However, we have some buttons, and for example, you can change the mirrors on the door, which I think is really cool. And another weird thing about this car is the whole mirror actually moves. The seats in this car are very sporty and comfortable. Another thing I thought was cool and kind of weird is there is an actual leg extender on the seats. When I first got in here, the leg extender was out, and I was like, why is this car so uncomfortable? I thought you couldn't change it, which would have been a problem if you were short, but you can actually extend the seat out if you're really tall, or put the seat extender back in if you're short like me, which I have never seen that in a car. Another weird thing is that this car only has one cup holder here. If we do open this center console, we do have another one, but then you don't have any center console, and it takes most of the space there. However, you do have some extra storage here. You can control your music here, which is really nice. I think the dial looks really good too. I don't know if you can see that diamond pattern there. It's also really easy to hit your hazard buttons as well as your defrosters there, which I really like. It has your standard kind of Volvo stocks here, which are great. And I think one of the complaints of the Tesla is that you can't control your lights really and your windshield wipers manually. This car has a gauge cluster right in front, which is nice. Other than shifting, you are going to control most of the screen on this center console right here. So you have all your climate control here. You have your heated seats and your heated steering wheel. Each passenger has their own control for their seats and their temperature, which is really nice. If you select the car, that's where you're going to find all your car options. So you can take the traction control off and go into sport mode. You can also adjust things like how the steering wheel feels, one pedal drive, so how much regen you're getting, and you can also select how the car idles. Pretty standard here. You can also select which aids that you want in this here. So what safeties? Do you want collision avoidance, driver alert, lane keeping aid? So all of those safety features that the Tesla has as well. You can also select the level you want the car to charge. Most car companies will recommend that you charge batteries only up to about 90% unless you're charging for a big trip. And then if you want to go back to the infotainment, you just have to press here. So one thing I thought I didn't like was if you're in the car and you want to go back to the maps, it looks like you have to click 2 buttons, which for me is kind of annoying. However, the map does come up on that center console, so it's not a big deal. One cool thing is when you're in reverse, if you tap up here, it has this really cool 360. If you tap to the side of the car, you can select that specific camera and then tap back to 360. Back seat, pretty roomy for a mid-size sedan. I have the seat pushed back almost all the way, and I have a decent amount of space here. I wouldn't want a tall person in the front and a tall person in the back. I think after a long ride, you might get a little bit uncomfortable. 3 seats in the back, however, the headrest here is down normally. They do want you to pull it up, but if you don't have that passenger, they do have this nice armrest here in the back that you can use, which I thought was really, really, really nice. So a couple of things about this car. It's really fun to drive. It's comfortable. It's a little lower to the ground than the Tesla Model Y. It feels sportier. It's fun. It's a good car. I think this is a great alternative to the Model 3, which before now there really hasn't been. This car feels luxurious. Price-wise now it's about the same price. This used to be a lot more expensive and it didn't really make sense. However, now the difference in price for the base models is only about $2,000. I could see why someone might want this over the Model 3. You want a nice car, but you don't want to break the bank, or someone who wants to try an EV for the first time, but wants, and does want that technology, but wants their car to feel a little bit more like a traditional car. Pretty efficient. You know, we drove into the mountains and I still have a lot of battery left, still 76%. I think I was about 80 when I started. So this definitely is a car that you could bring on road trips like the Tesla, so you don't have to worry about range or anything. This car gets, I think, 260 or 270, something like that. Anything over 230, 240, I don't think range becomes a concern. I know people do want those, you know, bigger, over 300. Some cars now have 400, but that isn't really necessary unless you're driving over 100 miles a day. You can't charge your car every night would be another reason, but this is plenty. You can go up into the mountains, you can go for a long day trip, you could even road trip this car and you would be 100% fine. Oh my God, I'm getting dizzy. 0 to 60 for this car is about 4.2 seconds. This is a performance model. The base model is going to be closer to 7, I want to say. So not super fast. I'm in the faster one right now, which is fun. The Model 3 performance is 0 to 60 in 3.1 seconds. So again, that Tesla is going to beat this car on paper a little bit in each category. So I wouldn't buy this car because on paper it's better. I would drive this car and see if you like it. See if you like the way that it looks, the way that it drives, and things like that. All right. There we go. I'll show you how foggy it is. It's insane. Crazy is that? That's what I was about to drive into. And I don't feel like that seems stressful to me right now. Doesn't get old. So everything in this car, it's not as sensitive as the Tesla. It has a little bit of a heavier feel. I thought the car wasn't as fast, but I just realized that the acceleration pedal wasn't as sensitive. So you do get a lot of acceleration, you just have to floor it. However, I do think my Tesla might be a little bit faster than this. The Tesla Model 3 definitely has a higher top speed of around 165, where this, which I think I am driving the performance model, the top speed is going to be closer to 120. So again, if you're looking on paper, the Tesla Model 3 makes sense, but this car looks fantastic. It's fun to drive, it looks great, it feels more like your traditional car, so I totally understand why you might want this car. Would you choose this car over the Model 3? Why or why not? Let me know in the comments below. All right, that's it. So if you have any questions about this car or any other car that I've reviewed, please let me know in the comments below. Thank you, and I will see you next week.